And now we switch over to our first session, capacity building with application, getting your brand noticed in the digital age. Welcome again for those joining just for this session. Please know you have you have interpretation in 6 languages. For those who are Lao would like to hear the Lao language, please choose Spanish and you will hear Lao language. Please feel free to write in the chat. Please message to NTFP-EP technical who can come back to you to any of your concerns. So for this session, our session moderator is Ms. Emanuel Andaya, better known as Nola. Nola's work on NTFP's community livelihoods and enterprise development in Southeast Asia spans for over 20 years, encompassing capacity building, marketing, policy research, strategy, and project development. She conceptualized various key projects of NTFP-EP, including Modi Modern Indigenous, partnerships between urban-based artists and indigenous artisans, the Forest Harvest Collective Mark, community product labeling, and co-established marketing arms in the Philippines, the Custom Made Craft Center, and in Cambodia, Nature Wild. So please join me in welcoming our moderator for today. Nola, the floor is yours. Please kindly open your video, Nola, and we will spotlight you. Nola, there you are. All right.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. And welcome to our first session called Capacity Building with Application, Getting Your Brand Noticed in the Digital Age. To give a short background about this session, during the first CBNE forum held last June, we surveyed participating CBNEs and they indicated that they would like to have longer sessions with resource persons so as to better absorb new knowledge being shared and to better practice new skills that were being taught. Many CBNEs in the midst of the pandemic have realized that they needed to place their businesses online because the social restrictions were limiting mobility. Thus, many CBNEs were interested in the field of digital marketing and branding. With this in mind, NTFP-EP engaged universities and other institutions to initiate and continue the mentoring process within each country, even after this event. So this session will launch the different programs from the partner universities, Bolanos University in Indonesia, the Vietnam National University in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, and the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, and also share what has already been started. This session will have 3 parts: the lectures, which will cover the next hour, then followed by 1.5 hours where CBNEs will directly interact with students and professors. And finally, after lunch, we come back and the CBNEs will present some of their new learnings and insights stemming from their interactions. Before the interactions between the CBNEs and universities, we first want to know more about the changing digital landscape, how CBNEs pivot to optimize the new platforms despite challenges, and how e-commerce sites and platforms can best serve CBNEs. To start our discussion, our first speaker is Mr. Ruggianto. Mr. Ruggianto has a background as a branding trainer and consultant, and he actively mentors small and medium enterprises in Indonesia for branding. He is the founder of Ruggianto Branding Academy and Artistica Poster Indonesia, and actively participates in exhibitions in various countries. He is an expert in logo and packaging design and is a lecturer in visual communication design at Bolanos University. Let's listen to his presentation.
Hello, good morning, my brother and my friend who attend this event. May all be given excellent health. I'm Ruggianto from Bolanos University, Jakarta, Indonesia, will present a brief presentation related to understanding the digital landscape and understanding how consumer need and behavior change when the COVID-19 pandemic is still haunting people in many countries in the world, namely about consumer in fear. Mr. Yuswo Hadi, an observer of brand issues in Indonesia, in a long article said, since the Indonesian government announced the first COVID-19 infected case on March 2, 2020, which was followed by the WHO announcement that COVID-19 had become a pandemic, anxiety began to hit the community, which led to a shift in consumer behavior. The most visible change that occur are the first, stay-at-home lifestyle. The new lifestyle is staying at home with walking, living, playing activities due to social distancing. The challenge of work-life balance is without question one of the most significant struggles faced by modern man, by Dr. Stephen Covey. The sentences from Stephen Covey about describe the condition of modern human before the COVID-19 crisis. Modern human are characterized as dynamic creatures with high mobility. The uncontrolled spread of the virus has practically stopped mobility and forced people to stay at home. An uncontrolled spread of the virus has practically stopped mobility and forced people to stay at home. Shopping is done from home by means of online shopping, along with the widespread application of physical distancing. Online shopping has become an alternative for many people. Buying behavior because you want to change to buy what you need. Food delivery services are among these that have experienced a very significant increase during the COVID-19 crisis. Consumers temporarily avoid eating out and switch to delivery services either through applications such as GoFood or direct order from restaurants. People are back to being happy cooking at home. Frozen food is more practically solution. Consumers have also become accustomed to buying food in the form of frozen or ready to cook because it is easier and more efficient in terms of presentation. All office work is done from home. At home, people create zoomable workspace. Work, life, play all done from home. Then the second behavior, back to the bottom of the pyramid. Referring to Maslow's pyramid, consumers are now shifting their need from the top of the pyramid with a self-actualization and esteem to the base of the pyramid with its food, health, and mental and physical safety. What the COVID-19 outbreak has passed, people don't necessarily interact physically as usual. The shadow of death from the virus will continue to haunt. Self-distancing will become a new habit and normal. During the COVID-19 crisis, people are used to keeping their distance between people, washing their hands more often, and diligently wearing masks. They are also more flexible when waiting in line. Shaking hands directly or kissing the cheek will also decrease. Permanent social distancing and forming a new normally gave birth to a new lifestyle, namely contact-free lifestyle. For example, shopping is done online to avoid virus exposure. Receive food from delivery services simply at the door without physical contact. Avoiding crowds such as watching music concert or sporting events that require physical contact. The third thing is go virtual. With COVID-19, consumers have avoided physical human contact. They have switched the music concert industry is among the hardest hit by the COVID-19 outbreak. Many concerts had to be cancelled due to the implementation of the PSBB and the organizer suffered losses. At this point, entertainment actors don't just stand still. They must enter survival mode by innovating to hold virtual concerts. Sport activities such as gymnastics, Zumba, to yoga or meditation are now carried out with a virtual application platform where the instructor and each participant carry out their activities in their respective home. For game, social gaming has developed earlier, but with the COVID-19 outbreak, social gaming will grow even more. Apparently, COVID-19 killed him faster. Currently, all employees are forced to do work from home, so they have the opportunity to do experiments to run flexible working hours, work pattern. At first, they were in denial, especially when they had to use digital remote working platforms like Zoom or Webex. But after weeks or even months, they got used to it, enjoy it, and become addicted. They are more productive because they spend more time with their family. In the midst of higher business risk after the outbreak, the company operations are increasingly asset-light by cutting overhead costs as much as possible. So work from home and flexible working hours also found a way to become the new normal. And the last change is the emergence of empathic society. Many lives have been lost due to COVID-19, giving birth to a new society that is full of empathy, compassion, and full of social solidarity. The COVID-19 crisis is the most devastating humanitarian disaster of the century with large human victims. The lesson is that COVID-19 has created social solidarity. COVID-19 gave birth to a sense of shared destiny and shared responsibility, with give birth to common goal to fight it. It is not surprising that the empathy and concern of various parties for the fate of others is widespread in the country and throughout the world. Parents around the world are currently facing parenting challenges that are not the same as modern times where before the COVID-19 virus spread. The transition of all family members to stay at home has disrupted daily schedule and routines. Parents are faced with the responsibility of keeping their children healthy, keeping their children busy while they work, and avoiding reactive discipline problems. Coupled with economy and social pressure that make domestic life more stressful than before. Caring, empathy, and love are now the most powerful brand building tool in the midst of the rampant epidemic. By making an impact and providing solutions to the difficulties experienced by the community, the company will gain a reputation as responsible and empathic brand. This is an empathic brand. Brand can add spiritual value or benefit to their value proposition in increasingly religious society. That way, the brand can create a spiritual connection with consumer. The brand must be a solution for consumer by providing peace of mind. One of the biggest lessons from the COVID-19 crisis is the acceleration of digital transformation in society. There are increasingly shopping online, so brand must be present both offline and online to increase reach while improving the consumer experience when buying product. This is my brief description I written to the moderator of this event. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pak Rugianto, for telling us about the changing digital landscape and the changing consumer behavior. Please note for the participants that Mr. Rugianto's presentation will be shared on the website of the CBNE forum. There is an accompanying PowerPoint presentation. And after this session, it will be found on the website. I would also like to invite the participants to start writing your questions on the chat, and we will be taking them up later during the Q&A sessions. For the questions that are written in a language other than English, I'd like to ask the assistance of the interpreters to translate them to English in the chat. So now we will go to our second speaker, Mr. Ngo Hutong. He has over 9 years of work experience in management positions, and he has expertise in intellectual property and brand management. He has advised hundreds of businesses to protect their trademarks and technological know-how. He also has experience in implementing online business systems and digital transformation application for businesses. Mr. Ngo Hutong, please tell us how small businesses are learning to re-strategize or pivot in the digital age.
Hello, Nora.
Yes.
Mr. Tom today is quite busy, so that's why Mr. Yoon, on behalf of our team, will present the presentation today.
Okay.
So welcome to Mr. Young. So he will present in Vietnamese. Please own up interpreter use the translate for this. Thank you. So hey, can you share the screen to support him?
Will Mr.
Dạ,
Will Mr.
xin chào mọi
Young
người.
sharing his own slide, or will we be sharing the slide?
So Mr. Ben will help us to share, just controls in Vietnamese team. So
Thank you. And for all other participants to hear in English, please press the interpretation button and press English. Thank you.
Dương báo cáo em
Ok.
share màn hình rồi đó.
Xin chào mọi người. Mình sẽ có trình bày nhanh cái phần của mình ha. Thì đầu tiên là tại sao những cái người dân tộc bản địa họ cần phải di chuyển lên online.
It's their business to online. At first, the indigenous people, when they produce the product, they need to do it in the small village. So mostly they produce the product and internal exchange in the community. So the income of the product is not much. And in Vietnam, in some indigenous people, where the site is the tourism site, they will have experience to sell the product through tourism. But in case of selling the product in the tourism, they could not control the numbers of the tourists in the year. And also, if they are waiting for the support from the government, usually it's not suitable with the real situation. So if the indigenous people want to improve their business, they need to consider about the online options. So the benefit of moving the business to online, at first, it's not limited in the time. They can do 24 hours per day. And also, there is no limitation in the areas. They can sell their product not only in Vietnam, but also in other regions like Asia or Europe. And still they have some difficulties.
Chỉ là thay đổi cái công cụ. Thay đổi suy nghĩ có nghĩa là sao? Bình thường là họ chỉ tạo ra một cái sản phẩm, xong rồi sau đó là họ mang ra chợ bán.
Produce one product and sell it in the local market. But in reality, if they make it become the online business, it's not, the customer is not limited at the local people, but it's also customer come from all over the world. And also people need to become very active, not just sitting, waiting. And also the people need to learn how to set the appropriate expectation. Some people have expect that if they move to the online business, they can increase the revenue quickly, but this is not reasonable, appropriate. And also the people in the mountainous areas, when they learn about the digital one, this is very complicated for them. So those challenges will limit the ethnic minority people, indigenous people a lot. And when making it become the online, they need to learn about each detail. And usually the details will make them become frustrated. So if they want to move their business to the online business, they need to start with those steps. So for step 1, they need to select the target business market. For example, they need to choose they will sell in all over the world, or in a continent, Asia or Europe, or they choose the target country to sell the product like Vietnam, Japan, Korea, or they sell in the province level. And then they need to decide the target customer. So they need to ensure what is their target customer. For example, the indigenous people in Sapa province, they need to sell the product to Ho Chi Minh City, the southern areas of Vietnam. So they need to clarify what is the target customer in that community. And usually they will use the tool 5W38. So they need to decide why people want to buy their product and what is their product, when the customer buy their product, and where they can approach to the product. And when using the tool 5W38, they need to answer in reality who they want to sell their product. Then for step 3, they need to find the contents or the message to send to the customer. For example, the indigenous people want to sell the product to those who want to have the natural product. So they need to consider about the nature element in packaging. So the business online need to decide what message to the target customer. And step 4, they need to decide what is the tool to approach to reach to the customer. In the internet, they have some like the paid tool or free tool, such as Facebook or blog, etc. So the business, the people need to decide what kinds of the tool they want to use. For example, they use the Facebook or some SNS, such as Twitter. Or they can utilize the e-commerce platform like Lazada or Shopee to introduce their product. It depends on what kind of the target customer. So if the people can decide those elements, they can find a way to approach to the target customer. So customer will follow those steps. At first, the new customer, they need to know about the product through the message. Then they become the potential customer. And when they pay attention to the product, they start to take action to buy the product. And then after purchasing the product, we need to take care of the customer to make them become the regular customer or to make them become the fan of the product. So for each kind of customer in each period, we need to have some specific tool to approach them. And after decide the customer, we need to have, people need to have some necessary skill. At first, they need to know how to create the contents. For example, writing the message or taking photos or making clips about the product. For example, if I use the Instagram to sell, I need to take photo very well. Or if I use the TikTok, I need to know how to make the video clips. So it depends on what channels or what tool you use. You need to improve specific skills. And secondly, we need to know some basic tool. For example, Facebook or YouTube. So at least they need to know how to upload their message, their product, and then how they can make the clip. And also need to know some kind of the customer care software, so that's CIN. And then need to have some basic business skills. For example, they need to know how to calculate the profit or loss, and also about the customer care, how they can find the information of the customer through the chat group or through the Facebook or direct calling or using Yellow, etc. So where to start? So the ethnic minority people or indigenous people, they have no money, they don't have any supporter. So at first, if they know how to take photos or how to make the video clip, it is better to start with the individual Facebook. Then upload the information in that individual Facebook. They can share the information to some public group, or they can utilize the YouTube or TikTok or some e-commerce platform like Lazada. And in Vietnam, we have the free sale management software called Nobita. They can utilize it. So where we can start? With the indigenous people. So I think start with the 0. We set the initial target in 1 month. How many people become our friend in the Facebook? Or how many people register in our, how many people subscribe in the YouTube channel? And we can consider how many of them can become our real customer. Then for we set the target for the 2nd month, the 3rd month, and when we increase our target, what kind of skills, knowledge we need to have. So at first, we consider about the revenue, the sales, and also the frequency of the purchasing of the regular customer, etc. So that is my presentation. If you have any question, please feel free to ask me. So there is some question in the chat box. You can answer it.
Câu hỏi thứ nhất là
Thank you very much, Mr. Trong Hoang Duong, who presented in behalf of Mr. Ngo Hu Tong. So the questions that are written on the chat, we will address or answer them during the question and answer forum. So Mr. Trong Hoang Duong, you can review them and later we will answer them. So again, thank you very much for that very interesting presentation. Now, our final speaker for this part of the session is Mr. Chris Edwin Bonalos. He is currently an assistant professor at the Department of Agribusiness Management and Entrepreneurship at the University of the Philippines, Los Baños. He holds a Master's of Management with a major in Business Management degree from the same university. He is the recipient of the Best Masters of Management Business Research of 2021 award for his business research entitled The Valuation of a Pre-Revenue Startup, the Case of a Software Company. Prior to joining UPLB, he worked as a business development professional with over a decade of experience in overseeing business operations, both in a startup company and a calibration laboratory. Mr. Bolanos will tell us more about e-commerce platforms and how to optimize them.
Good morning everyone. And if you're in a different time zone, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. This is Capacity Building with Application, and I'm here to discuss determining which e-commerce platform to use and how to best engage with them. When you're starting out, you'll be lost. That much I'm sure. There's a lot of e-commerce platform out there, and you're gonna ask yourself, what's an e-commerce platform? Which e-commerce platform should I choose, or how do I know it's the right platform for me? And if you're going to try this and you have limited information with e-commerce, you're going to tell yourself, am I going to spend a lot of resources, a lot of my time studying e-commerce when I can just do something else more productive than this? So we'll try to answer all of these questions within the next 15 minutes. What's an e-commerce platform? It's basically your store, your physical store. You put it inside of your laptop. You connect it to the internet. It's now available to everyone digitally. That's why we call it your online store and your online selling, and how you want customers to buy your products. That's it. You don't have to confuse yourself on electronic commerce. Just think of it as a store. Your online store that's available to everyone who has access to the internet. Why do I need to go to e-commerce platforms? Why do I have to do business here? Take a look at the numbers. Retail e-commerce sales worldwide, according to JT Express Singapore via eMarketer. 2014 to 2021. Look at the jump. It used to be 1.3 trillion sales worldwide. It's now $4.9 trillion. Pre-pandemic, let's take a look at the numbers. 2014 to 2015, there's only an increase of $0.2 trillion. 2015 to 2016, $0.3 trillion. During the pandemic, 2020 to 2021, there's a $0.8 trillion increase in a year alone. That's double or triple what's happening pre-pandemic. And we're not even considering the new batch of digital natives that's going into the labor market every year, that they will be dependent on this sites and e-commerce. That's a lot of disposable income looking for products that you might be selling. Let's take a look at the most visited e-commerce websites. In 2020, number one is Shopee. They have 281 million visits in a year. Lazada has 137 million. What does that mean? That means 281 million persons visited Shopee. 137 million visited Lazada. Imagine you taking a piece of that pie. Imagine you taking at least 1% of that, visiting your store and buying your products. How much will that be in your currency? How much sales will that be converted to? Now let's take a look at e-commerce platforms in Southeast Asia. Why is this important? Because if your product is being sold in a different country, then you might want to take a look at the e-commerce platform that's predominant in that country. If you're from Singapore, if you're from Vietnam, from Indonesia, and you want to sell in the Philippines, you're probably gonna use Lazada, Shopee, or Zalora, because that's the most used websites, your e-commerce websites in the Philippines. You're not gonna use Bukalapak or Tokopedia because that's in a different country, right? And when you're using Lazada and Shopee, it's like selling anything under the sun. You can, as long as you can navigate through their platform, you can upload a photo in the description and how much it would cost, then it's Shopee and Lazada. Zalora is more specific though. It's more of fashion, a fashion for men, women, and kids. So if your products are into fashion, then that might be a e-commerce platform to take a look at. Now, how do you sell? How to do it? Here's an example. You just go to lazada.com.ph or .st or from whatever country you're from. You look at Lazmall Marketplace delivered by seller. Probably go at Marketplace. You see there, a few years ago, they sell with commission fee. That means everything that you sell, there's like a 2% or more than around 2% fee that you have to pay to Lazada, or Lazada takes from your sales. Right now, it's just 0% commission fee. Free access to seller tools, trainings, campaigns. They're going to teach you how to sell in their platform. They're going to ship products easily with your drop-off points near you. Why? Why are they doing this? Because right now, the pandemic stimulated the fourth industrial revolution. Everyone now is online. Your customers that used to visit your shops, they're now in the digital market. And the increase in the visits and the sales of Lazada and Shopee wouldn't be that much if there isn't a business that's selling through their platform. So right now, they need you, your business, your products in their platform, because they already have the demand. That's 231 million and 180 plus million per year. Problem is, how do you satisfy that demand? And that's where you come in. You just sign up, you talk to their customer service. If you don't want to talk to them, there's a list of instructions that you just have to follow. And that's it. Then you also have Lazmo, where you pay commission fees only when you sell. You don't pay for the platform itself. Right? You have search engine optimization for them. They will do everything. An existing infrastructure is already built. It's just up to you to use them. And it's that easy. Remember, if you're having a hard time with this e-commerce platform, go talk to them. They're more than willing to sign you up. How about let's take a look at Facebook Marketplace. With a click of a button, you can see the statistics here. Let's take a look. First advertisement, 12,644 reach, 24 message conversations, and 1,000 pesos spent. That's $20 for reaching 12,644. What's 12,644? These are the number of people in Facebook or in Instagram that saw your advertisement when they were browsing through their newsfeed. 24 message conversations. These are the customers that have buying signal, that clicked your advertisement and started talking to you. It's now a matter of, are you going to close the sale? And how much did I spend for it? $20. For $20, I get 24 message conversations and a potential of 12,644 people in the future to remember my product once the need to buy comes. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of conversation just for $20. What if you have multiple advertisements? Then you reach multiple number of people, like 20,000, 30, 40,000. What if your batting average, your closing sale is not that good? You can close a sale, let's say 10% of the time, but that's still not bad. 10% of 24 is 2. You still close 2 sales. That's 2 more reviews for your product. Now we will discuss later what's its impact. After statistics in Facebook Marketplace, here's how it looks for you. You upload a photo, then you design your Facebook business on how you want to be contacted. Send a message, a number, or comment on the page. Then after that, you ask a question, how does Facebook know who my customer is? You use smart audience, right? You've learned in marketing that we have to target this market. We have to have a certain target, a certain segment, and a certain position in the market. So how do we do it? By using smart audience, you can put in your location. And if you're selling a product that's bounded geographically, meaning you can only sell to nearby towns, then you can put that there. Or you sell into a certain age group, let's say 18 to 25, that's my target market, then you can put that there. So it narrows your search. You just don't sell to anyone that in the digital market, you sell to people that's most likely will buy your product. Then how does Facebook know that these are the product or these are the customers that wants your product? You put in interests. I'm getting married, event management, weddings. Yes, I'm not just going to sell to the bride and the groom. I'm going to sell to organizers. I'm going to sell to people who are engaged or is planning to get engaged or is planning a business or planning a wedding. And the algorithm on Facebook matches all of that. And once it does that, it gives you the number of people you've reached. So those people you've reached, those are people those are customers those are future customers that you have. The conversation starters, those are customers that is willing to buy right now. So no cent of money is wasted. If you continue advertising and this same people always see your product in their newsfeed, creates recall. And when the need comes, they're there to purchase the software, purchase your product already. You can actually edit all of the smart audiences, the age, the details. But what's good about this is it shows you the potential reach of your advertisement. This specific advertisement has a 24 million people reach. That's 24 million people that I cannot reach in my physical store in a certain number of weeks. Right? If you depend on foreigners, if you depend on visitors in your store, you're bounded by the number of people entering. But in the digital market, everyone, anyone, anywhere can visit your store, can purchase your product. What are the things to consider in an e-commerce platform? Here are the 4 things I'd say for beginners that you take a look at. Cost. Cost is everything. If you're like me and you're very frugal or you want to minimize your cost, you look at platforms that are free. One basic tip here, if it's free and you have time to manage it, use it. It will never hurt your product or your store to be online, to be searchable, to be available everywhere. Right? But if there's a cost involved, then take a look at the features, the future features that you will be using, or how much does it cost to unlock a certain feature needed by your store. If there's free trial, go for it. That's the reason for free trial. You want to have a feel. Is it good? Does it make sense to invest money in marketing in this e-commerce platform, or should I choose a different e-commerce platform? UI UX is basically how you see it and how you experience it. Is it easy to navigate through your store? Did you have a hard time? If not, then you ask your customers. You take the point of view of your customers and is it easy to navigate in my store? Is it easy to buy in my store? If it's easy, then that's good. Because if it's not, that's a very bad signal. Because again, It's not just you who's selling there. Everyone is selling there. If I'm a customer and I'm having a hard time in your online store, it might prompt me to switch to a different store. And you don't want that. Next thing to look at is scalability. You look at scalability. You're not always going to be small time. You're not going to be the small business always in the digital market. One time when you started, it might be small. But we don't know. With billions and billions of users online, it could be a week, it could be a month, it could be a year. Your store might be growing exponentially and you can't handle it anymore. So same as your platform. Does it limit the number of products that you can sell? Because you might be in the future, months from now, 6, 12 months from now, you might want to sell more than just 5 products, more than just 10 products. So if it limits you, then that's not a good sign. But if it's for free, go for it. Then you take a look at user base. We've talked about it earlier. The more visits an e-commerce platform have, the better for your store. So take a look at which country are you going to sell, and what e-commerce platform are they using in that country, and use that. A few new things to remember. Who is your target market? Always remember that. Your customers are not going to your physical stores right now. So take a look, take the point of view of where are your customers right now and what are they doing. If you're selling directly to your customers, then they might be in social media and you want to advertise there. You want to use Facebook Business, Facebook Marketplace. If you're selling to distributors, retailers, business to business, you might want to look at a more professional social site like LinkedIn for professionals. Yeah? Then can your photo justify your quality? Your physical store have your product. They can touch it. It's tangible. With e-commerce, no. They just have a photo. Take a look at your photo. Is it good? Is it painting a picture to me that I want to use your product? Because if it's not, then I'm not going to use it. How do you make beautiful photos? Well, there's a couple of things online that can help you with that, with YouTube. But I suggest you contact the e-commerce platform that you're targeting. They might have a service that they can take photos for you, and they'll just send you the photos. You send them their product, they send them their photos. Lastly is take care of your reviews. Reviews are very important because right now, with the pandemic, the review is like a stranger telling your potential customer that it's worth it. Your product is worth it. And the more positive reviews you have, the easier it is to sell. You have a picture that paints how to use your product, and you have a review that says, go for it, then it's an automatic buy. If your customer feels that they have value for money, they're going to buy it. So take care of your reviews. Lastly, there is no best e-commerce platform for all products. Only you and your experience can dictate how an e-commerce platform will be able to help you. You have to take a look at your market, take a look at your product, and match them. An e-commerce platform that might be working for your neighbor might not work for you. So don't copy. Learn, experience, and never, ever try to be afraid of using e-commerce platforms. That's it. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Mr. Bolanos, for your presentation. And also thank you to all esteemed speakers for having shared your knowledge with us that has planted new knowledge on our minds and will hopefully sprout new ideas and plans. Some of the key points I harvested that I would like to highlight are from Mr. Rugianto. We heard about consumers' life revolving around the home with needs shifting back to the basic needs, as well as the new contact-free lifestyle that we need to address as we think about our product design and distribution, and building a brand that emanates care, empathy, and love. And of course, the need now to both be present offline and online to increase our reach. We learned that we need to be continuously aware of the changes in the market in order to respond with innovations in our products, services, as well as our business models. From Mr. Ngo Hutong, we learned that we are looking at not just a change of tools, but more importantly, a change of mindset. From being passive, waiting for buyers, we have to learn how to be proactive. And from a local market, we need to have a view and understanding of a bigger market accessible to us. And also, we heard about managing our expectations from the market, as well as how to manage the new technology. And as we transition to an online market more than ever, it is essential to be clear with who we want to sell to and the message we want to tell them and how, including identifying the tool we will use. We also learned that consumer engagement doesn't end in the selling of the product, but we need to continue the engagement to make the buyer a regular. And more importantly, we have to learn how to use real-time data from social media to guide our strategies. We heard about from Mr. Chris Edwin Bonalos, we heard about the importance of transitioning to e-commerce, which is a store available to everyone who has access to the internet. We learned how to choose the right e-commerce platform by looking at the data. We choose the dominating or most popular platform based on the country we are selling in and determining the appropriate platform according to product category, as well as considering the costs. These platforms already provide information, assistance to enterprises on how to get on board, and how social media platforms offer relatively lower cost advertising functions by targeting those who we want to sell to. Again, we are reminded that we need to be clear who we want to be selling to. And now we open the floor to questions from the audience. So we have less than the 15 minutes allotted since because of the delay in time. So we will be taking 2 to 3 questions, and we have already some questions that were written on the chat. So from, and I will get on with the questions. So from Tin Amy Chit from Myanmar, I think this is directed to Mr. Ngo Hutong. So maybe his representative can answer, and also I can invite the other speakers to answer. So in customer targeting stage, what kind of analysis tools are realistic based on your real experience? Do you think such analysis can be different depending on products? Mr. Trong?
Rồi, theo kinh nghiệm cá nhân của mình là cứ mỗi một công cụ ở cái giai đoạn đầu tiên là để xác định thị trường mục tiêu, nó đều khác nhau. Nếu như mà khách hàng thì công cụ sử dụng tốt nhất là Google Keyword Planner của Google, thì nó sẽ cho mình biết được rằng trong tháng đó hay là trong năm đó khách hàng tìm kiếm sản phẩm bao nhiêu lần. Nhưng công cụ Planner nó có một cái nhược điểm là với những sản phẩm khách hàng họ chưa biết đi, khách hàng họ chưa có hình dung gì về sản phẩm của mình, khách hàng họ không có một cái ý niệm gì, thì là Keyword Planner nó sẽ không có tác dụng. Lúc này mình sẽ sử dụng công cụ của Facebook. Trong công cụ của Facebook nó sẽ có 2 cái. Một là keyword Facebook Audience Insight. Chút xíu mình sẽ mở ra ha. Mình sẽ xem màn hình đó.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Trung. Anybody, maybe Chris? Do you have
mình xem màn hình mình sẽ chở mình.
Can we ask the speakers to open their videos so we can spotlight them?
Okay.
Thank you.
So no line, please make
okay.
Young become the host so he can share the screens to quick give
So
example.
Mr. Trong would like to share his screen?
Yes.
Mr. Trung, go ahead. Please share your screen.
Rồi, mình đang chia sẻ màn hình.
Is everybody able to see Mr. Trung's screen?
Now it's coming.
Yes.
Mọi người thấy màn hình như chưa ạ?
Still uploading. Okay, we see it now.
Anh ơi, nhưng mà cái màn hình là tiếng Việt á hả?
Không. Đây. Rồi. Với những cái người dân tộc bản địa, lúc bắt đầu họ không có nhiều sự lựa chọn, thì mình khuyến nghị họ sẽ tập trung vào các group cộng đồng trên Facebook. Từ đó họ sẽ biết được rằng là có một cái group ở Việt Nam nó có tên là Chợ Cô Ba. Trong cái group này có đến 170,4 ngàn thành viên. Đây là một group giúp bán hàng rất là tốt. Các bạn có thể thấy họ bán từ chăn rồi gối, rất nhiều những cái bình luận và cái sự tương tác. Họ bán thịt cá, họ bán đồ nhựa, thậm chí họ bán luôn cả thảm yoga. Đây là một cái group bán hàng ở Việt Nam rất là tốt. Tương tự một cái group khác ở trong thành phố Hồ Chí Minh, nó có tên là Sài Gòn Chợ Lạc Son. Đây cũng là một group bán hàng. Họ bán đồng hồ, họ bán nước dừa, họ bán quần áo. Hoặc là nếu như mà mở một cái cà phê nhỏ thì cũng có những group là để review. Như là group này nó đến 136.000 thành viên. Họ sẽ review những cái quán cà phê đẹp. Thì với cái kinh nghiệm của mình, lúc bắt đầu những cái dân tộc thiểu số, những cái bạn hãy khoan sử dụng các công cụ trả phí, mà hãy tận dụng những cái group cộng đồng trên Facebook. Từ đó khi mà mình bắt đầu mình có được một cái lượng khách hàng trong này rồi, thì mình hãy nghĩ đến cái chuyện xa hơn là sử dụng các công cụ quảng cáo. Đây là cái bước bắt đầu, nó sẽ giúp các bạn đỡ đi rất nhiều những cái chi phí và nó sẽ mang lại hiệu quả kinh doanh rất là tốt. Và như vậy các bạn thử nghĩ coi, mình sẽ tham gia tầm khoảng 10 group, hoặc là mình sẽ liệt kê ra 100 group cộng đồng trên Facebook, mình sẽ cộng lại là các thành viên, thì lúc này là cái khối lượng khách hàng của mình sẽ rất là cao. Và với cả cách này mình sẽ không cần phải sử dụng những cái công cụ tìm kiếm nào mà ngay
Okay, Mr. Trong, I'm sorry, I will have to cut you, but I think there will be more opportunity to discuss this topic of using Facebook and using the data we can gather from it in order to help us target the customers in the breakout room. So since we have limited time, I will now thank you very much for addressing that question. I will move to so for those who have more questions about this with Mr. Trong, he will be in the Vietnamese group later in the breakout room. So the other question is for Mr. Bolanos from Eki Riwanto from KKI Warsi, Indonesia. What is the strategy so that consumers will continue to buy the product, not just one time, but continue, because competition is tight and more products are going online?
Thank you, Nola. Thank you for the question as well, Mr. Eki Riwanto from KKI Warsi. So yes, it is true that more and more products are going online because every day people learn about the digital market and we're always shifting to the digital market. The question now is, how do I become better than the competition, right? It's not just about meeting demand. You just match a product and this is what the customer wants, you give it to them. That's not the case anymore. In marketing, we now focus on customer delight. What is it? What extra things that you can give to our customers that will make them happier? We're not just satisfying a demand right now. It doesn't need to be another product. It doesn't need to be a buy one, take one. It could be a simple, I promised you I can deliver in 5 days. I delivered it in 3. That's customer delight. Let's say they want to purchase a souvenir and you have another product that's not moving really fast and you want to introduce it. You can include it as a freebie and say, hi, thank you for purchasing our product. Here's a new one for you. Please leave a review for our store. So it's up to you and up to your store on how you think, how you know your customers. What do they want and what extra can you give them so that we reach that customer delight level? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris. Maybe for the last question, maybe Mr. Rujianto can also respond, or any of our presenters. So I think the question is, so once you sign up online, no? I think it was mentioned earlier, we have to manage our expectations. So how fast will the reaction of the market be once you get online and once you started doing your promotions and marketing? How fast will be the market reactions once you apply the tools, and how significant will the reaction be? So this question is from Mr. Elpidio Perea from the Philippines.
Nos, maybe we can ask Pak Ruji also to open his video.
Pak Ruji, I think his video is on. He's not spotlighted. Kindly spotlight him. Yeah, thank you.
Great.
So maybe, yeah, the question was how fast will the market reaction be for those who are just starting to join? Pak Ruji, maybe you wanna start.
Silakan unmute, Pak. Masih mute.
Oke, mungkin saya bisa dengan bahasa Indonesia ya.
Boleh. So please click English as Pak Ruji will speak in Indonesian.
Oke, jadi pertanyaannya lebih ke secepat apa sebetulnya produk itu bisa direspon.
Mbak Sheila pakai bahasa Inggris.
Halo?
Silakan Pak.
Please go ahead, Pak Rujianto.
Silakan.
Oke, ya jadi sebetulnya secepat apa produk itu bisa direspon oleh customer ketika produk itu adalah produk baru. Itu tergantung dari bagaimana produk itu bisa menjelaskan tentang produk itu dengan cara-cara yang boleh dikatakan itu bagian dari marketing di era digital. Itu yang paling penting, sehingga ketika satu produk itu bisa disetting menjadi satu produk yang bisa dibuat viral, ya, di media sosial dan sebagainya, itu pasti akan sangat membantu. Kira-kira seperti itu.
Great, thank you very much, Mr. Rujianto. That's a very interesting input.
Yeah,
so
thank you, Nola.
I think we have, is there anything else, Chris, you want to add, or Mr. Trong, about this?
Sorry, I got disconnected, but I want to say that in the digital market, it could be as long
Sorry,
as.
is it me who cannot? I know. So I
Need to
have to
press
go
off.
back to off. Yeah.
Please press off to hear the speaker.
Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
All right. In the digital market, it actually depends on your product. It depends on the market, and we cannot actually dictate that if your product's gonna exponentially increase in demand in the next couple of weeks, months, maybe a year. Some could be an overnight sensation. That's how volatile the digital market is. One thing I learned a decade ago was always expect the worst, but hope for the best.
All right. Thank you very much, Chris. So thank you to all presenters, and thank you to those who posed the questions. We will now move to the second part of this program, which is the breakout room. So for this part, we will all be divided, or we will be invited to join different breakout rooms. And each professor and his or students will interact with the CBNEs of the same country. So local language will also be used to facilitate the communication in these breakout rooms. And each country has its own program for the breakout. So we invite you to learn more by joining the different breakout sessions. You will see here the assignment of the breakout room. So Indonesia, the language that will be available will be Bahasa Indonesia and Lao. In the room for Philippines, there's Tagalog, Filipino, and Nepali. For room of Vietnam, there will be Vietnamese and Khmer. Because of the limitation in number of interpreters, we had to assign the languages interpretation that can be made available in the different breakout rooms. And due to the delay in time, we invite the group to decide if they would like to end at 12 noon Jakarta time as planned, or you are free to extend as you decide in your group. So each participant can choose his or her own breakout group. And you have, I think from now, less than an hour, and based on your agreement, if you would like to extend. So you will have the discussion where you can determine the next steps and the processes. So facilitators will be present in each breakout room to assist you with any other issues you may encounter. So after this breakout room, you can break for lunch. And sorry, let me check first. Chrissy, do we have to come back here after the plenary, or we will just meet after lunch break?
We will just meet after lunch break. So that allows flexibility for each of the breakouts if they want to extend or not. Okay. And we will be playing videos of CBNEs during the lunch break for those who would like to stay online.
All right, so now I invite you to join the breakout room that you would like to be in, and we will see you back here at 2 p.m. Is it 2 p.m. Jakarta time? So in this session, country groups will be presenting their discussions during the breakout room, and each country will be given 15 minutes to present what they have discussed and what they have learned and their next steps. So without further ado, let us begin with the first group. So may I invite the students from the Philippine group to make their presentation? Are you ready? May I know from the Philippine group who will be presenting?
Hello, Ms. Nola. We are still compiling our discussion. So if possible, could we start with the other groups?
Okay. All right. So between Vietnam and Indonesia, who would like to go first?
Yeah. Hello, Nola.
Yes.
Maybe
okay,
from Indonesia will go first.
Okay. Please, the floor is yours.
Pak Martinus.
Yeah.
Kata Mila ada satu dari daerah mana ya yang mau
Bu Dede.
Nah, Bu Dede
kita cek dulu apa Bu Dede sudah standby. Bu Dede.
Oh, oke. Karena dia mau komentar tentang branding tadi dari mahasiswa.
Oke.
Jadi
Siap.
nanti
Good.
Pak Martin bisa 10 menit, Bu Dede bisa 5 menit.
Oke.
Oh ya, mungkin Bu Dede dulu ya. Karena
boleh.
saya lebih kepada konklusinya saya.
Boleh.
Ya.
Bu Dede.
Ya.
Oke, Bu Dede. Oh, gelap. Oh ya. Bu Dede akan gunakan bahasa Indonesia.
Ya.
Oke. Saya akan tunjukkan PowerPoint logo tadi ya, yang tadi di-share.
Selamat siang semuanya. Tolong sampaikan Bu Dede dari daerah mana, produk apa, silakan. Ya. Terima kasih, selamat siang semuanya. Saya mewakili dari KPN Infrosula Yogyakarta. Kebetulan produk kami yang sudah dibuatkan untuk logonya itu ada 2 produk, itu ada kopi gayo luwes dan gula semut. Saya minta untuk mahasiswa mencari informasi dari media sosial atau file yang kami sertakan pada dokumen yang kami sertakan itu oleh mahasiswa melihat dari hasil logo yang dibuat oleh mahasiswa. Saya rasa ini sangat bagus sekali karena kami bisa lebih memperkuat branding pada produk kami yang tadinya memang masih dalam bentuk yang sangat sederhana. Artinya input dari mahasiswa ini bisa kami jadikan sebagai tambahan informasi baru untuk memperkuat branding kita dengan platform digital marketing nantinya. Kami jadi lebih tahu lagi sisi-sisi kuat mana atau poin-poin penting yang harus kami perkuat ketika menggunakan logo yang merepresentasikan dari produk kami ini untuk nantinya digunakan secara maksimal pada platform digital marketing. Itu yang bisa kami tangkap, sehingga PR selanjutnya adalah ketika logo sudah sangat bagus disertai dengan riset yang tidak ala kadarnya, artinya logo ini akan bisa membantu secara maksimal fungsinya dalam marketing, digital marketing atau lebih pada perluasan branding produk kami ini nanti gitu. Dan mungkin perlu kami sampaikan bahwa ini nanti akan sampai pada tahap mana, karena kesulitan yang kami hadapi di kami adalah terbatasnya skill dari kami untuk mengolah materi-materi atau tools yang bisa digunakan untuk marketing branding ini. Sehingga apakah memungkinkan atau apakah apa upaya kita bersama sehingga ada satu langkah kebersamaan yang sustainable ya, yang berkelanjutan, tidak putus di tengah jalan, sehingga apa yang sudah dibuatkan oleh
oleh adik-adik mahasiswa ini bisa terus digunakan atau bisa maksimal sehingga pada penggunaan digital marketing itu sudah settle atau running well gitu. Tidak putus di tengah jalan ketika kita hanya mendapatkan materi mati saja, terus kemudian untuk selanjutnya kami belum tahu mau diupayakan lagi seperti apa gitu. Jadi mungkin akan bisa diperluas lagi dari, mungkin harapan saya sih dari 2 bulan ke depan mentoring itu nantinya akan benar-benar sampai pada satu alat atau satu sistem atau satu aplikasi yang bisa digunakan oleh kami untuk memperluas pemasaran atau untuk memperluas cara-cara kami untuk di digital marketing ini. Mungkin seperti itu saja yang bisa kami sampaikan. Terima kasih sekali untuk presentasinya untuk produk KPN Introsula Yogyakarta. Terima kasih.
Thank you very much. Now we invite the professor from Venus University.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity and allow me to represent the team from Indonesia, and will provide the results of the breakout room. So our students from design program of Bina Nusantara University had presented the brand logos they had previously made for each micro, small, medium enterprise, MSME. And these logos would be used for them in the future, for the MSME. As mentioned by Mrs. Dedi Budiarti, the challenge is how to develop the effective strategy for them sustainable. So next, we agreed to do mentoring, where we will escort them in developing marketing programs via their social media, which is the media more easy and reachable. For the next 2 months, the MSMEs will be helped and assisted by students, our students, to create and develop their social media content with the objectives to introduce their products and create effective awareness to the right market. So hopefully, after 2 months of mentoring, they will learn and can develop their social media contents independently. So of course, this 2 months activity will have an evaluation. We will make evaluation, and the results can be used for further mentoring activities with a better concept for NTFP according to the needs of MSMEs in Indonesia. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your next steps. And we look forward to hearing more about this. Now we go to Vietnam. Are you ready?
Yeah, I think Vietnam is present.
Please, you have the floor.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người. Mọi người có nghe tôi nói không ạ? Nghe. Xin chào tất cả mọi người. Tôi là Hương, là người dân tộc thiểu số sống tại xã Đinh Trang Hòa, huyện Di Linh, tỉnh Lâm Đồng. Thì trong 2 tháng vừa qua thì tôi được bên NTFP tổ chức cái khóa Digital Marketing, là gồm có 3 nhóm học là nhóm Mộc Tâm, nhóm Sâm Ca và nhóm cà phê Omi Cơ Ho của tôi. Thì hôm nay là tôi sẽ trình bày cái kết quả mà tôi đã đạt được sau 2 tháng học vừa qua cái khóa marketing. Thì đây ở trên cái màn hình đây là các sản phẩm của nhóm chúng tôi, là cái sản phẩm cà phê Omi Cơ Ho. Thì cái vùng của tôi là cái cây chủ lực chính là cái cây cà phê Omi Cơ Ho. Trước đây thì chúng tôi làm cái sản phẩm này là bán ra ngoài thị trường, chúng tôi không có biết dùng để uống. Sau này thì chúng tôi nhận thấy được cái vấn đề đó và chúng tôi cần uống cái sản phẩm này, và chúng tôi lại đi mua ngược lại cái sản phẩm này từ bên ngoài, và cái sản phẩm này nó không có đảm bảo chất lượng. Chúng tôi thấy cái vấn đề đó là không hợp lý, cho nên chúng tôi đã quyết tâm là sản xuất cái sản phẩm là cà phê hữu cơ Omi Cơ Ho để cho cộng đồng là cùng thưởng thức và cái giá trị của địa phương chúng tôi. Thì năm 2018 thì chúng tôi bắt đầu chuyển đổi canh tác hữu cơ thuần tự nhiên, và mãi đến năm 2020 thì chúng tôi mới có cái sản phẩm đầu tay và đưa tên thương hiệu là cà phê Omi Cơ Ho. Omi người Cơ Ho nghĩa là dịch ra nghĩa là tình anh em, là cà phê của người đồng bào cùng đoàn kết và tạo ra cái sản phẩm đặc sắc này. Rồi hiện tại bây giờ thì nhóm chúng tôi thì có 2 cái dòng sản phẩm là sản phẩm cà phê hữu cơ và sản phẩm là cà phê để cỏ với 7 hộ đang canh tác với diện tích là 5 hectare. Và các sản phẩm này hiện tại thì đang bán với các khách hàng quen, rồi với các shop ở NTFP cũng giúp nhóm là bán một ít và tham gia ở các phiên chợ hữu cơ tại Đà Lạt. Chuyển tiếp đi. Và khi mà chúng tôi làm ra cái sản phẩm như thế này á, thì bắt đầu tháng 12 năm 2020 thì bắt đầu nhóm chúng tôi mới có máy rang xay. Trước đây thì khi mà chúng tôi làm cái sản phẩm này thì chúng tôi không có cái máy rang xay, chúng tôi phải đem ra ở ngoài thị trường gia công với giá rất là đắt đỏ. Mà khi đem rang như vậy á, thì họ lại bỏ những cái chất phụ gia như là bơ này, rồi mỡ gà này kia, thì chúng tôi thấy cái điều đó nếu mà cà phê hữu cơ như vậy thì nó sẽ không có phù hợp. Cho nên là chúng tôi đã may mắn tiếp cận được một cái dự án, và cái dự án này đã hỗ trợ cho cộng đồng chúng tôi là có cái phòng sản xuất và có đầy đủ các cái dụng cụ để phục vụ cho là chế biến cà phê. Rồi khi mà cái nhóm chúng tôi mà mới bắt đầu như vậy á, thì chúng tôi chưa biết về cách marketing như thế nào, thì may mắn là tháng 8 tháng 9 vừa rồi thì chúng tôi đã tham gia được cái khóa tập huấn, cái khóa học là NTFP tổ chức là marketing, và bắt đầu chúng tôi mới va chạm được với công nghệ thông tin. Rồi sau khi mà học 2 tháng như vậy á, kiến thức tôi đã học được và áp dụng như thế nào? Đầu tiên là tôi đã học được cách xây dựng video. Thì trước đây thì nói chung là chúng tôi ở quê thì chúng tôi rất là ít tiếp cận với các công nghệ thông tin. Nói chung là cầm máy cũng không biết, này kia cũng không biết. Sau khi học cái khóa này thì chúng tôi mới biết được cách cầm máy, chọn góc độ và chỉnh sửa cắt hình, rồi định dạng văn bản, chèn nhạc, lồng tiếng. Thì bắt đầu chúng tôi mới tìm tòi mày mò các dụng cụ này, và chúng tôi đã đưa ra cái sản phẩm video này đăng lên trang fanpage. Và khi mà đăng lên như vậy thì được mọi người tiếp cận rất là nhiều, là hơn 1.000 người tiếp cận cái trang của chúng tôi. Và cái bài học tiếp theo là chúng tôi được học đó là viết content. Tức là khi mà viết content như vậy là chúng tôi không biết là khi mà mình đăng lên cái bài thì mình không biết sử dụng cái từ ngữ nào để cho nó lôi cuốn khách hàng. Thì khi mà học cái viết content này thì được cô giáo chỉ, và chúng tôi được biết được sử dụng những từ ngữ nào, những từ ngữ thôi men để cho nó lôi cuốn khách hàng. Và tôi đã áp dụng tất cả những cái nội dung đó vào cái sản phẩm của tôi, và tôi đã đưa lên ở trên trang Facebook của tôi, và nó được tiếp cận khách hàng và được khách hàng là ủng hộ rất là nhiều. Rồi cái bài học tiếp theo là tôi được học thiết kế logo, nhãn mác và sử dụng cái công cụ Canva để thiết kế các logo. Giống như tôi nói hồi nãy là chúng tôi là người bản địa mà mình sử dụng cái công nghệ cũng ít. Đối với chúng tôi là cái khóa đào tạo này nó rất là nó rất là bổ ích mà bản thân chúng tôi thì cũng phải cần cố gắng. Thì sau khi mà có giáo viên hướng dẫn cho chúng tôi như vậy thì chúng tôi đã tự thiết kế được các logo, cái nhãn mác và có thể xây dựng được cái hình ảnh video cho nhóm của mình. Rồi cái cuối cùng là chúng tôi đã học được là cái cách xây dựng kênh, tạo kênh trên YouTube và chúng tôi đã chạy ad được. Và khi mà học như vậy thì giáo viên thì cũng nhắc cho chúng tôi là khi mà mình bán hàng thì mình phải khoanh vùng đối tượng và mình phải biết là danh sách khách hàng để chăm sóc khách hàng và chọn những cái tiêu đề, những cái công cụ mà có thể nó phù hợp để mình phát triển cái sản phẩm của mình. Thì tôi đã xây dựng được cái kênh YouTube cho cái nhóm của tôi và tôi cũng đã chạy ad được. Rồi cái hiệu quả mà tôi đã đạt được sau 2 tháng học được là cái trang của tôi trước đây là không có, ý là nếu mà chỉ đếm là cái trang fanpage của tôi chỉ có là 400 người thôi. Nhưng mà hiện tại bây giờ sau khi mà tôi học được 2 tháng như thế này thì cái số người tiếp cận trang của tôi tăng rất là rõ rệt luôn. Giống như ở trong cái hình ảnh mọi người đang thấy số lượng tiếp cận hiện tại bây giờ là 3.168 người. Và cái lượt tương tác bài viết thì cũng tăng và số người họ theo dõi trang và họ share trang về cái trang của tôi đang lên thì cũng tăng. Và điều đặc biệt nữa là khi mà chúng tôi đăng lên như thế này thì các khách hàng tại địa phương họ cũng biết đến và họ cũng đặt hàng với chúng tôi. Và chúng tôi thì cũng quản lý được cái đơn hàng, chăm sóc khách hàng cũ thì tốt hơn và tìm kiếm được thêm khách hàng mới nhờ cái khóa học này. Sau khi tham gia khóa học này thì tôi có những cái đề xuất như sau. Thứ nhất là mở thêm lớp học digital marketing cho các cộng đồng khác cùng tham gia và sẵn sàng hội nhập vào thị trường trong kỷ nguyên số. Thứ hai là tổ chức khóa tập huấn về sản xuất an toàn vệ sinh thực phẩm, cách khai thác tài nguyên bền vững. Thứ ba là mở rộng mạng lưới CBNE ở Mekong để các cộng đồng doanh nghiệp vừa và nhỏ trao đổi thông tin và hỗ trợ cùng phát triển. Thì đó là cái đề xuất của tôi và những cái kết quả mà tôi đã đạt được trong 2 tháng vừa qua. Cảm ơn BNT đã tổ chức cho chúng tôi để chúng tôi có cái tầm nhìn và cũng như là để mình phát triển, dẫn cái nhóm của mình đưa ra các sản phẩm giá trị địa phương đến với nhiều khách hàng. Xin cảm ơn rất là nhiều. Tôi xin hết ạ.
Thank you very much for sharing those wonderful achievements and truly inspiring for all of us. Is there anybody else who will share from Vietnam?
Yes, we have two. Yeah, we have two. So we have the video for 2 minutes from the other CBNEs.
Okay, please share. Thank you.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người. Xin chào mọi người. Em là Nhật Tâm và em là Quỳnh Trang. Chúng em đến từ cơ sở sản xuất thiên nhiên Mộc Tâm. Sau đây thì chúng em xin trình bày những cái ứng dụng của mình đã áp dụng được sau khóa học Digital Marketing vừa qua. Sau khóa học Digital Marketing vừa qua thì chúng em đã biết cách lập được kế hoạch cho cái doanh nghiệp của mình, định giá được sản phẩm và cách tiếp cận với thị trường tốt hơn rất là nhiều.
Và trước đây với Mộc Tâm của tụi em thì mới chỉ là sản xuất hàng và đưa ra thị trường, thì cũng có biết tới các cái kênh thương mại điện tử, cũng có biết tới mạng xã hội, nhưng dường như mình chưa chủ động và chưa nắm bắt được những cái điều đó. Và sau khóa học này thì tụi em học được một điều, đó là mình cần phải nắm bắt, chủ động hơn, tích cực hơn với những cái công cụ của marketing như vậy để cho mình đưa doanh nghiệp của mình phát triển hơn ạ.
Em cũng muốn qua đây muốn kể một cái câu chuyện mà Mộc Tâm gặp phải trong cái trước cái thời gian mà em tham gia khóa học. Đó là trước đây thì tụi em vì không biết cách định giá sản phẩm cho nên là cái lợi nhuận mà doanh nghiệp em mang về nó không có nhiều. Và tụi em rất là sợ cái chuyện là mình tăng giá sản phẩm bởi vì khách hàng sẽ không có đón nhận nữa. Thì sau khi tham gia khóa học thì chúng em đã biết cách được là thay đổi nhãn mác, bao bì và biết cách marketing, nắm bắt được tâm lý khách hàng, và từ đó thì chúng em đã có thể là tăng được giá sản phẩm, mang lại lợi nhuận cho một tâm nhiều hơn. Nhưng mà cái lượng khách hàng nó vẫn tăng đều chứ nó không có bị giảm đi. Đó là một cái kết quả rất là thiết thực khi mà chúng em áp dụng những cái bài học từ khóa học vào thực tiễn ạ.
Và ban đầu khi mà tụi em làm thì rất là chập chững mới, chị em làm thì còn nhiều cái sai sót, tụi em chưa hề biết lập kế hoạch cũng như là mình quản lý cái dòng sản phẩm của mình, số lượng sản phẩm của mình. Và sau khi mà mình học thì mình đã học khóa học thì tụi em biết cách là mình sẽ lập ra một cái kế hoạch nó khoa học, nó bài bản hơn, và mình quản lý cái dòng sản phẩm của mình cũng như số lượng khách hàng của mình một cách đầy đủ và có những số liệu thống kê rất là rõ ràng.
Và em cũng có một cái đề xuất, đó là mong là cộng đồng NTFP và các thầy cô sẽ tiếp tục mở nhiều cái khóa học như thế này nữa, để mà những cái doanh nghiệp khởi nghiệp nhỏ như tụi em có thể được tiếp cận, tham gia, và để mở mang những cái kiến thức cũng như là tầm nhìn của mình để có những cái bước đột phá tốt hơn trong tương lai. Dạ, chúng em xin chân thành cảm ơn ạ.
Dạ, chúng em xin chân thành cảm ơn và xin chúc mọi người ngày 13 tháng 10 năm 2021, ngày doanh nhân Việt Nam và tất cả các doanh nhân ở đây đều thành đạt hơn trong tương lai gần nhất ạ.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that energetic sharing. Will there be another one, or that's it for Vietnam? You?
So I mean, we prepare just 10 minutes, but if you ask more, we have a lot because we also prepared yesterday. We have 3 presentations, but today we just 2 ones.
Okay, I think we have maybe time for one more from Vietnam, if you would like to share. Of course, we want to hear more good news.
Okay, so anyone from 3 group, bạn trong 3 nhóm còn lại có muốn nghe không? Ai có muốn trình bày cái bài của mình luôn không? Quân thấy sao? Còn nhóm Vĩnh nữa phải không? Cho Vĩnh trình bày luôn đi.
No. Em nghĩ chị nói sơ về cái khóa học tiếp theo thôi.
Yes, please go ahead.
Có Vĩnh là đang, Vĩnh ơi. But I think you should keep moving with the other CBNE first, and Vietnam will be later to present.
All right.
I just called him now.
Okay, so now we can move to the Philippines. Are the students ready?
Yes, we are. Let me just share my screen. All right. So hello everyone, I am Paula Maydagsi. I am a student from the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, and I have with me Miss Ivy Marasigan. If Miss Ivy could open her camera as well and say hi to everyone. So
hi everyone. Yes, I'm Ivy Marasigan from the same university, and Miss Paula and I are Forestry students from the Philippines.
Okay, so today we will briefly discuss what has happened and what we learned in our breakout room session for the Philippines. So it was actually a very fun discussion with around 68 participants in the room. Okay, so for just to give an overview for everyone, this is actually our very first consultation with the community. So the students in our part, what we did was to prepare questions for the CBNEs. We asked them what are their products, what are their target market, and their current situation with the pandemic. So the CBNEs that we're able to share first is the San Isidro Labrador Diocesan Multipurpose Cooperative that is located in Malabay, Bukidnon. Their products are actually food and handicrafts. So before the pandemic, what they were doing was participate in trade fair, in partnerships with the DTI, and they do consignments as well. But because of the pandemic, their current situation is that there is a decrease in sales because of quarantine restrictions. So because of this, there is depleting capital as well. So during the pandemic, actually food products or kakanin and juices are preferred over handicrafts. So there is also problems with product delivery in terms of its cost and the manpower that involves with it. So the online platform that this community is currently using is through Facebook. So besides them, we have the Kinoon, which are located in Lake Cebu, South Cotabato, and their products are usually malong and embroidery and all of that. So pre-pandemic, what their situation or practices are, their buyers are usually CMCC and gifts and graces, and they also participate in trade fairs during the physical setup. But currently, they have tried Facebook, but there is a limitation in terms of their internet connection. So that was a problem. So the same with the very first group, food products are more marketable than weave products during this time. So most of their weave products are sold locally. So, and besides that, they also engaged in barter system with other barangays. And now, because there are no tourists, they have a closed showroom, and CMCC, which we will be discussing a bit later on, does the marketing for them. So besides this, we have the Pigtepon and Livelihood Center Incorporated, which is located in Quezon. So their products are mostly honey, tea, handicrafts, and pre-pandemic situation is that they would cater to individual and group-in buyers. So they would have this pasalubong, or the one that you give to your family after like a trip, to display in Infanta. Then they would provide free samples, especially for honey. So their current situation right now is that they're experiencing lots of difficulty in selling handicrafts because there are a few walk-ins during the pandemic. And the online platform that they are currently using is Facebook. So for CMCC, Ms. Joy also shared with us that their current products are crafts, food products from the community, and their own products. So pre-pandemic, what their situation was, they would sell in bulk, usually in conferences, events, and etc. And what they do is that they do the packaging for honey from Palawan and other products that they are catering. And their online platforms is Google Forms and Facebook page, and they have a physical store and showroom. But due to, once again, to the pandemic situation, they pivoted towards Lazada shop, but currently there are very low sales because it focuses more on retail rather than wholesale, which they were used to. So they were also finding partners, hotels that they can sell products to. And once again, a reoccurring theme is that food items is the most easily marketable product currently. So they also have partnerships with DTI, and they also use other platforms such as the Linkers store. But currently, there are issues with manning the online store since there are only a few people that can help with this. So just to share, the Lazada account that CMCC does, maybe Miss Joy, if she's here, she could share it in the chat room. This is their Lazada page. So I hope all of you could check that out. So with regards the next steps, or what we will do for until December, I move the floor to Miss Ivy.
Hello, good afternoon again. So moving forward to what's next after knowing all this information from our community-based non-timber forest products enterprises, we now aim to apply these new learnings through our post-forum activities. So these post-forum activities will involve the students, the professors, and the CBNEs and the green marketing arms. So these consultations will be scheduled bi-weekly in order to give the establishments ample time to test the strategies while the students marinate and polish current or other ideas. So these consultations may be done during class hours or through a scheduled meeting on Saturdays, depending on the availability of both parties. So for these consultations, what will be discussed are the updates on what transpired within the last 2 weeks with their establishment, and if necessary, what shall be needed to revise or strategize depending on how the market reacted with the said strategies. And this meeting or these meetings and consultations will serve as project retrospective for both students and establishments in a way that we can look back at the project and discuss what we will continue, what we will stop, and what shall be improved. And this will surely be a learning experience for both parties and to move forward together. And for the last main step is to create a live timeline for the establishments in order to track the progress from the said consultations. So after the consultations, create a picture. There shall be a picture created of how the establishment is responding. And the goal is to create a picture of what has transpired, what we did, what we missed, and what we are good at, and what we should continue to do. And we shall use this as a way to guide on how to capitalize the missed opportunities tapped by the strategies created by the students. So there is no plan that is set in stone because these strategies shall be adopted to the changes depending on how the market reacts. And I think that would be all. And we as students are very much grateful to have been involved in this activity. We have learned so much from the breakout session, and we aim to learn more as we integrate with the CBNEs, and we are very much excited to help our CBNEs. So I think Ma'am Carmina and Sir Chris, do you have additional notes or message?
Hi. I don't have any message, but thank you. Maraming salamat sa lahat ng CBNE na dumalo sa aming breakout session, and we'll try to help them as much as we can in the comforts of our own home. Thank you very much.
Yes, ako din po. Thank you very much to all who participated and looking forward to our partnership po.
Thank you very much from Team UPLB and Team Philippines. So now we would like to open the floor for more question and answers. Maybe the different teams, so Philippines, Vietnam, and Indonesia. If you have questions for the other countries, this is now the time that you can raise those questions and have them answered. Okay, so there's a question here from Mr. Elpidio Perea. We can also open the floor to questions from the audience. Sorry. Let me backtrack a bit. Before we go into the question and answer, there is still one group from Vietnam who would be sharing their experience. Yung, please go ahead.
No, he said he signed to presentation, so maybe he will present next time.
Okay, no problem. Yes, there will be a next time. Thank you. So the question, so we go now to the questions. So there's a question here. How is scalability taken on by these various CBNEs nationally and regionally? Would it be possible to put in the planning horizon the possible aggregation of all these similar products and integration so scalability can be achieved? Is there anybody who would like to answer this? Or for the countries, are you thinking already of ways how you can consolidate or bring together these different producer groups to achieve scalability? Anybody from Indonesia who would like to answer? Or maybe if there are no plans, maybe from the professors, do you see this as something possible, as something that can be integrated in strategies? Mr. Elpidio, you wanna?
Yeah, hello. Can I be heard?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Of course, maybe I'll reframe the question. Perhaps given the initial efforts on this online marketing, etc. Because we're from the ASEAN Center for Biodiversity, we're looking at it at the regional level. And while of course we laud, no, we applaud and encourage these initiatives. But I think the bigger goal should be to scale this up. In fact, in one of the presenters, scalability is key. No, I don't know. Perhaps I'll reframe the question. Maybe that's too difficult. Do you think how many years should we look at? In how many years do you think can scalability be attained, or what are the benchmarks, if any? No, so that somehow all this, because looking at it in the big picture, more or less products are largely similar, honey, handicrafts, etc. So is it possible to integrate or aggregate them so that one big supplier can be targeted, one big buyer can be targeted, and then repeat purchases can be repeated? And what are the challenges towards achieving that? Of course, I hope the professors we have here can also guide us based on the academic literature and practical experience. Yeah, thank you.
Nola?
Yes, thank you. So thank you for the question. And anybody from our universities? So Joy, yes, go ahead, Joy.
Hi, I'm from Custom Made Craft Center in Metro Manila, Philippines. I was wondering about the definition of scalability, because we already cater to a wholesale market in Metro Manila and also international. It is also somehow our goal to supply an industry with these products, because we market tokens, giveaways, and conference kits to a lot of government agencies during the pre-pandemic. But when you talk of scalability, sometimes it strikes me as there's always a constant supply, which is not always the thing with CBNEs, because aside from being handcrafted, it's not an instant production that there will be something the next day. Sometimes it takes 2 weeks to 1 month. And then there's also the issue of quality. Sometimes if it's produced too much, the quality kind of goes down, because we are looking at the resources being replenished, and of course the seasonability of the resources itself. We have, for example, baskets from Palawan like this that we'd like to make into bags. We have to look for manufacturers. We can't do it ourselves. But we also ask the community if it's sustainable for them to be produced at certain rates that the client is asking for. If that answered the question.
Thanks, Joy. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts on the matter of scalability. And Mr. Bolanos, you would like
Yes,
to...
can I speak? Sorry, from what I've heard, this lunch break, this noon, the establishments that we're talking to have drastically declined sales over the past year and a half during the pandemic. So right now, their focus is survivability. How do we create revenues during this time? We've tried Facebook, it's not working for us. Or maybe they tried it the wrong way. We're not sure. That's why we're taking a look at how they did it. Now, to answer the question of scalability, it would be very hard because their products are different. It's handicraft, it's handmade. Maybe in the future we can standardize it, but right now I don't see, maybe next 3 years, the economies of scale might not be in favor for the CBNEs. First, we need, what I see is first, we need to create revenue for this establishment. Once revenue is there, we start, let's say the weavers start coming back, because I've heard one of our CBNE said that a few of their weavers are going to the farms already, but it will take 4 months before they earn money instead of just weaving, and it will take a couple of weeks. So we need to encourage them to go back to weaving so that we can produce more. Now, once we produce more, that's where we ask the next question. How do we standardize everything so that when we go to CMCC, their central marketing, it's easier for them to say to sell wholesale. But like what my students or our students told you guys, right now, let's look at how the market reacts, because we're not sure. We may plan as long as 3-5 years from now, but if the market changes in a week, all that plan will go to waste. So we'll see from now until December what we can do to stimulate the sales of this CBNEs. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sir Chris. There is Nature Wild. Is it NW, Chrissy? Somebody would
Miss
like.
Nature Wild has their hand up.
Okay.
Go ahead, Nature Wild. Oh. Sylvan, is that you? Or was that an accidental press of the hand? Or...
Okay, so just one reaction on the chat is that I think she concurs with Sir Chris that some weavers are now into farming or doing other works because of low sales from handicrafts. Okay, Chrissy, so you would like also to say something?
Yes, I think, well, as what's happening as well in Bukidnon, I mean, many of these indigenous communities that have a lot of resources within their ancestral domain. So it's a matter of also of trying to find what products would meet the changing demands of consumers now. And so I think that's happening around. We're also doing it here in Indonesia. But I think for crafts as well, the point about visibility and how you look, I mean, how all the professors stressed about how a photo means so much now, when before you could be in a trade fair and your story could also be heard, but now it's your photo and then they listen to your story. So it takes some time, but I think there are starting to be more responses as in some areas the pandemic is being lifted. So we're even starting to receive more as well here in Indonesia, more inquiries from museums that appreciate as well the products even while we're in the pandemic. So I guess it's finding those that continue to appreciate the products, and also for different functions. Like, for example, if nobody buys clothes anymore because no one's going out, but people are decorating their homes. So how do you change your product so that you change you can also adapt to the needs of the consumers who have changing needs. So that's one. And then the question about an ASEAN or Asia level effort. So tomorrow we will be discussing about the Forest Harvest Collective Mark, which is trying to be like a family, an umbrella of a brand, of a label that will be the face to the consumers, that all of these community products are sustainable from communities, are made against fair trade and ethical standards, etc. So our dream is that they can somehow be aligned with this brand, and that can be promoted across Asia. It's something we're trying to do now with, for example, our forest honey partners, and we'll be talking as well with those some of the honey producers tomorrow, which are already assessing themselves against standards. So those are just some examples in response to some of the questions. Thank you, Nola.
Thank you very much, Chrissy. Anybody else who has a question and that would like to raise it to the plenary? So there is a question to me. Is it possible to do a synergy collaboration with students from university from Indonesia and other countries to manage or do strategic marketing as a professional? And because sometimes there's some limited capacity in IT technology and knowledge in some countries. So this is from Ms. Dede of Indonesia. So it's a cross-country collaboration. Is that possible? What do the universities think?
I would love that.
That would be nice. Yeah. How about partners from Vietnam? What do you think? From Indonesia? Is this possible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Yes, my name is Ivan from Vietnam Farmer Union. I work for Forest and Farm Facility in the north of Vietnam. And today I recognize that we have some potential from our NTFP community first. And the second thing, during the pandemic period, we recognize that the people come back to nature life more and more. This is also opportunity for us to develop our product from the natural resources. And for example, at the NTFP in Vietnam, we have some bamboo, fruit, honey, or medicine tree. This is a time we can provide for the market, for the people, because now people want to use those natural medicine and honey. But we think that the example of a study from Indonesia, the student can have CBNE. In Vietnam, we have some training on digital commerce. E-commerce is a very good one. It's a tool how we can help our CBNE to develop and sustain their work, their business. This is now is the time for us to think how we can work together. First, we train our CBNE and our community to one understand about natural resources. What we have is a value. And the second thing, how we can train them with the new technique, not only on the production, but on the marketing and selling and business. The second thing, we can use the digital training for them. And the third thing, I think the way now from the Indonesia and from the other country, we know that the student, young people, very willing to help the people, especially the difficulties, the ethnic minority people. This is why if we can create the environment for students can work with CBNE, even across the country, I think it's a very good, because now in Vietnam we can contact with the Indonesia friend, in Vietnam we can contact with some student in Ho Chi Minh City. I think it's not so far and not difficult, but the difficult how we can create environment and policy advocacy for this work during the time we work with the ASEAN countries, the government, I think it's a very important, because if we create the ASEAN community in the coming time and we create the environment for the people can work together, not only from the farmer with farmer, but from students, from scientists with other country among our ASEAN, I think it's very good way. This is why I think the cooperation between students across the country with other CBNE, not only among their country, but outside their country, this is a good the good thing and the good way. And we have to promote this. And maybe in the coming time when CBNE and NTFP have strategy, maybe we have some issue on that. We may make some proposal and some program for those issues. And one thing I think we have to concern much about how we can have the certification for our NTFP. Maybe tomorrow we will discuss about that. But I think it's a time, because almost the people can buy their product through the Facebook or through the digital e-commerce platform. But if we have some certification, very, very common or very famous, well-known, for example, for non-timber product, if we have the one certification for that, and people very easy recognize, oh, this is a very good product from forest, from the nature resources. And I think this is the tool to help the market development for NTFP product and for CBNE development. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Miss Yvonne, for your always inspiring sharing. So I'm sorry, there's one more hand raised, but we will have to move on to another session. So if you have questions, please feel free to still write them on the chat, and those resource persons who can answer them, or participants who can answer them, they will answer them. So to close this session, I would like to give a short synthesis. So the pandemic has accelerated the need to transition to the digital commerce, and we see, but at the same time, we see great potential for NTFPs as people are caring more about health and going back to nature. According to Mr. Rugianto, the evident changes in consumer priorities and behavior have impact on the way CBNEs need to run their businesses, with digital marketing an integral part of it. Digital commerce has opened up new opportunities for rural and remote enterprises, but has also introduced new challenges that CBNE will have to face and be prepared for. To survive and flourish as a business, communities need to continuously be aware of the changes in the market in order to respond with innovations in products, services, as well as business models and marketing strategies. CBNEs need to have a new mindset and be proactive in learning new skills and adopting new business models, technology, including use of e-commerce platforms that was mentioned like Shopee, Lazada, or others, the use of social media like Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, consumer research, data analytics to guide agile marketing strategies, digital marketing and branding, including audience engagement, content writing, keywords used to attract customers, product photography, video production, use of visuals, packaging, including logo design, sensory branding, and others. And at the base of all these strategies is the clarity, knowledge, and understanding of the target market. CBNEs need to be clear who are buying their products, the message that will resonate with them, and the platforms in which they can be engaged continuously. These may seem overwhelming, but we saw from the experience of our Vietnam community partners that this is possible. They have increased views and interaction on their social media page, and they saw an increase in orders and now have customer care initiatives. At the same time, we still recognize that there are still some challenges to be addressed, such as limited internet signals in some villages, the need to streamline logistics, and the time needed to gain traction in online markets. However, we saw from the session that CBNEs have partners they can reach out to find solutions, whether they are universities, NGOs, market partners, as well as e-commerce platforms, consumers, students, and the youth within and cross-country to learn new skills, develop new products, and to pivot and manage their business in this digital era. We also highlight the need for continued collaboration between the different actors for continued capacity building and in order to sustain the impacts of the new learnings. We are happy to hear the commitment of both university partners and CBNEs to continue working together to develop and implement digital commerce strategies for the CBNEs. So thank you again to all of you who joined us in this session. We wish all the best to all CBNEs participating in the continuing mentoring. We look forward to hearing your experience in the future. So I turn over the floor back to Chrissy for other reminders and information on the following sessions.